Hello, and welcome to this first lecture of this new section on doing the profitability cases for your case interviews. So, in this section, what we will help you do is to develop your excellence in solving profitability cases to help you crack consulting interviews. Profitability cases are very commonly required case presented in the consulting interviews, and that's what we would focus in this section. In this lecture, what we will look at what are the frameworks for solving profitability cases, and we start looking at how can we start applying these frameworks to solve profitability cases. Right? So, ready for that? Great, wonderful. So, what are the frameworks for profitability cases? So, before we get into that, let's look at what do the profitability cases look like. And I have for you here four cases that we will take you through, illustrating in the remaining lectures on how to solve them using the framework that we're going to propose to you. The first case is about your client is a low-cost airline operator in Europe. Over last 2 to 3 years, it's been burning cash, right? So burning cash basically meaning we need to define that. So what you need to do is to diagnose and recommend solution. So it's a very again a short case, a profitability case. You are given impromptu the question and you have to on the spot solve that. The second one is your client is a leading public sector bank in India. Recently, has been experiencing decline in its profitability. The client wants you to analyze it why and also discover what are the possible reasons. The Going clockwise, the third case is your client is an auto insurance company operating in India and has been facing reducing profitability in last 2 years. They have come to you for help identify the reason and explore possible solution. The last one that you will take is a client is a major retail bank facing declining profit and is unable to compete. You are approached to find the problem and suggest solutions. So you see the common thread is profit or profitability declining or being negative, and what you need to do is to find the cause and find the solutions, right? Okay. So what are the right frameworks for profitability cases? MEC is a great framework for profitability cases. MEC is very largely used by McKinsey in their consulting practices. So if you're going for McKinsey interview, obviously it will have a great help. And even in other consulting interviews, it will be great help for profitability cases. What is MEC? MECE stands for mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. ME mutually exclusive, CE collectively exhaustive. And as you see here, basically, you need to come up with once you define Y as an output, this is the profitability. You need to determine the various factors at multi-level that are exclusive and which are exhaustive. And you see the examples of visually illustrated the ideas that are not exclusive and not exhaustive. So whole idea is to determine all those factors that will determine the profitability independently. X1, X2, and X3 should combinedly determine the profitability, and they should not be overlapping. Similarly, W11, W12, W3 should be independent variables without overlap, and they should collectively explain fully the X1 like that, right? So you get an idea of the MEC. Wonderful. So in the MEC, using the MECE for profitability, you need to take care in defining the profitability right. The profitability could mean different to different people, and the first step would be to understand clearly what does the recruiter asking the question mean by profitability. Is it return on equity in its purest sense, or is it return on capital employed, or is it net profit after tax as a percentage to revenue, or is it net profit after tax in an absolute amount, or it could be anything else. It could be earnings before interest, tax, and depreciation and amortizations, EBITDA. So you need to figure out what that is, and that will give you a lot of clarity in terms of how would you take the MECE forward. Because as they say, garbage in, garbage out. So if you have the wrong profitability defined, your factors, MEC factors would not be right for sure. And then once you define the profitability, then you need to determine the MECE factors. Say example, for return on capital employed, the return on capital employed, the two immediate factors that determine ROCE is net profit after interest and taxes and the capital employed, if that's the definition. And the definitions could vary from company to company also. Then you see, okay, if it is net profit after tax, what determines this? So it's revenue, operating profit, depreciation, interest, and tax. And capital employed is fixed assets and working capital. And then find, once you have determined the MECE factors, then you find the dominant cause of the profitability issue by asking the questions to interviewer and keep drilling down till you find a cause that can be addressed by taking some actions to the satisfaction of the interviewer. Important thing is to note is the satisfaction to the interview by drilling down as you go forward. And in this, you can use the problem analysis to find the root cause. If, for example, in the previous one, if you find that the main issue is the working capital, which is causing the dropping of the return on capital employed, then you need to state that working capital is a problem and figure out what is the cause, what is the root cause by going this. And this can help you define the problem correctly, help you ask the right questions, and help you find the root cause ultimately, which is what also the recruiters are looking for. Once you have the root cause identified, you can use the quick decision analysis to make your recommendation. Basically, you need to state the decision, which is what the problem is. Then you need to develop objective. The objective would be to eliminate the root cause found, and then you look at alternatives, identify what is the best solution that can eliminate the root cause in the most effective way, with ensuring that the problem doesn't keep occurring again and again. So how can we solve these cases using these frameworks? Can we make a combined approach to solving these cases using MECE, problem analysis, and decision analysis? Sure enough, let's look at that. So you start by adapting these three frameworks. The first step is to ask questions, state the problems, and confirm. Then you look at you apply the MECE by identifying the MECE factors driving the output, and drill down as much as required. In that process, you may find, and you will keep interacting with the recruiters during the process. And there you might find that the problem that you initially started is no more the real problem, and you need to ask questions to describe the real problem, the problem which is you don't know the cause. So you may be starting with the problem for which you know the causes, and that doesn't really solve the problem. So you need to go to the problem that you don't have answers to, and then you describe that as a problem. So there's a bit of a loop here in terms of asking questions, defining the problem, doing your MECE factors, asking questions again to define the right problems. Once you have defined the right problem, then you determine the probable causes using MECE. In conversation with the recruiter, to find the root cause, again in conversation with the recruiter, and develop alternatives to eliminate the root cause and determine the best solution. And this whole process you keep doing in the form of a dialogue, as you will see as we illustrate the examples. Right, so what do we do next? So in the next, we will take the first case and see how can we apply this methodology to solve the case. And the case is of a low-cost airline operator in Europe has been burning cash. So what we need to diagnose and recommend solution. So thank you so much for watching the first lecture of this case interviews on profitability cases. I hope you're beginning to learn something new, beginning to enjoy, and I look forward to see you again in the next lecture.